Hi everyone, today is the 10th of February 2025. So today I'm just gonna do an update and an in the moment evidence denouncing and opposing the opposition's social media and public deception. Also, I thought before I go to the actual topic, I wanted to just get your mindset on this on this post. Okay, so it's definitely a criminal case that I'm going through. So really, in reality, I believe with everything that I have gone through historically, I'm now able to prove historically what happened to me going back to 2010 and in the moment with all the things that I've actually gone through personally has now kind of like the revelation of it all since I met Henry Cavill. So here is what you'd call, I've just put these two posts together just to get in your mind about slavery. Like we all know the old system slavery where the black, were separated and didn't have rights and stuff like that. So we're talking about this system now, but it's not only just, it's not that kind of a system where people are obviously on the surface are slaves, but the system involves the use of the technologies. It is global and they're using the hub desk. So you and your family could be locked out and in the slave system like I'm in historically, and or you could be on the other side where this is where the relationship comes in, as far as like Natalie Voskiso linked to the government and linked to my court cases. So this here is basically me really giving a revelation of the new age modern slavery system. It is illegal. Okay, so I'm just gonna go through some of the posts just like an introduction. I'm sure some of you have been quite we're just waiting to see what I'm going to talk about these videos that's got floating around in social media. But the case that I'm being subject to is a slave system, and it is definitely trafficking in persons, and the penalty is 20 years imprisonment. So it doesn't matter how long this whole thing goes through legally by law, all these people can be prosecuted whether the person is dead or alive. The whole idea with me doing this is, is to not only help others, but also for intervention for myself. And I just feel this is where God is guiding me to do what I'm doing. Okay, spiritually, we're talking, I'm a Christian, okay, and I am a godly female, mature. So, my background is I am 100% always have been a Christian, and my spiritual warfare or my spiritual birth came from when I was at church. And would you say I'm a silent Christian? I'd say because of my occupation at the time and then my private life, yes and no. But what I meant by that, in my private life, I was my private life. So whatever I did in my private life and in public in my private life, that was separate to what I did when I was working for government, meaning I didn't Bible bash or anything. I separated my work and I just did work like everybody else, minded my own business. But what we're dealing with is the supernatural realm, which is, that is what godly Christians, when you are a born again Christian, that is the realm is described as the supernatural realm versus the witches and the warlocks. So this system, unfortunately, manifests in organised crime and keeping innocent civilians suppressed, isolated and enslaved, and it's actually very serious and very, very dangerous. But it is the age of mass incarceration. And from my own personal experience, I have discovered the legislation is also set out to keep people in this incarcerated set of circumstances. However, it is illegal. Okay, but if once you know the difference of what is a constructive interference versus a destructive interference, then kind of like hopefully to make you understand that some of the things that you're going through personally is not your fault, and that somebody else, that you may be targeted, or somebody else is controlling and manipulating your set of circumstance, except you don't know who it is. So on my YouTube channel, I talk about my professional life. I talk about my court cases that I've been personally litigating myself, and then I'm talking about my personal testimony. So there's lots of bits and pieces, but it's all about me, because it's about my entity, which is my personal property. Okay, I'm one of these people who actually hates social media. I hate photos, and I still love my privacy. If I could turn things around and like had the choice, I'll still stay private. But sometimes you've got to, God puts you in a zone where he pushes you out of your comfort zone, and some things you've just got to do by faith as you are led by, whatever God has driven you to do. Okay, so welcome to Authentic Ingenuity Entrepreneur. My name is Minna Crichton, and I am the narrator of this video clip and all my other video clips. So historically, I can personally say that trafficking in persons does entail gradually stealing and stealing all your good fruits of an individual's life, or and actually stealing their intellectual property at the same time. And then so usually it's like they're squeezing all the good juice out of your energy and out of your life. This includes of conspiracy, invasion, home invasion, where they take everything that is yours, or you lure everybody away, so you end up feeling exiled, or you can feel lonely depending how you are spiritually and mentally strong you are. You can end up feeling depressed, anxiety, and it's actually a very dangerous situation for anyone to be in. But these are the kind of this is the intention of whoever is controlling and manipulating your set of circumstances. So you just got to remember that if you're going down that path, it's very likely you are targeted, and that what's happening to you is not your fault. Okay, I'm just going to keep you guys, I'm in a lockout situation, which means everything that is happening to me is unlawful. Okay, and I can confirm that they are using the hub desk and the call centers, and then they are collecting your information, and other people are making decisions about your well-being, or so they can like you or hate you, but you don't have a choice. You're just gonna get whatever they say. And what I have found, that they are making up their own laws. Okay, and it's very easy for anyone, secret societies, to steal from anybody, basically, like what they've done to me. So I am on a lockout situation. You could be on a lockout situation at work. You could be in a lockout situation in your own home. So historically, a home invasion does start from breaches. The legislation actually calls them grave breaches for a reason, because they've invaded the person's private life, which like they have done with me. Their motive and intent is to steal, and unfortunately a lot of innocent civilians get murdered in between, who either are lured in or is being used and then it backfires. So it's definitely every single legislation has been broken in my case, and it's also because I've been used for an experiment by people I haven't given consent to. So in my case, you're either the victim or the defendant. You can't be both. And in my case, I'm actually the victim of crimes. Okay, so we have all this going on, linking to the relationship scam. So that's the reason why I have to keep on trying and be consistent at the moment until I feel safe to actually go off social media. But I know at this point in time, I think it's what I'm supposed to be doing. Or I don't think, I know it's what I'm supposed to be doing, because I'm helping other people, and it's also helping those that are watching over me, the honest people like myself, to protect me and Henry and my family. So this global game involves criminal intent, definitely, and it is serious violent offences. Here it is. Serious violent offences mean any offence, okay, for 7 years. So organised crimes or anything premeditated, okay, anything premeditated is serious violent offences, and it can be easily proven, if there's a consistency of a person that is being used for trafficking, because it's actually trafficking, but it is called serious violent offences, okay? So the laws actually set out to stop corruption, and it's also set out for those in fiduciary duty to actually abide to the laws themselves, okay? Because no one is a law to their own in this world, and that's the reality. So basically, my case is definitely the old terminology. It's called indictable case. All right. Unfortunately, the system has changed to the point where now the breaches, I feel the system has diverted, is no longer helping or serving the public and innocent civilians. It's actually diverted for people to actually secretly steal off innocent civilians, and their civil rights and their Bill of Rights is ignored, and they are enslaved. Okay. Definite personal victimization takes place. When people are listening to you and taking your word and then doing the opposite to destroy you, that's called personal victimization, and that's exactly what they've done to me. So anything I say, the opposition is like covering up, creating their own, their own illusion, their own belief to cause our deception for the public. So the public has a choice. Like, if you're honest, you're going to, of course, lure to what is right. If you don't care or racist or bias, you will go, you'll be lured to go to the other side. So, but this is what victimization does to the originals. They personally victimize somebody. It's like someone stabbing you every time something happens, but they're hurting the person intentionally to cause, anxiety, or to cause depression, and just to get them into a negative mind zone. All right, that is apparently, everyone goes through that. Nobody is that strong to avoid that kind of thing, but you cannot avoid that time of your life when everyone goes through a hard time. Everyone goes through a hard time, and I think that is the real nitty-gritty of life, is when you fight those demons on your own, and battle yourself out of it and find a solution to get yourself out of it. And those times are the most difficult time, but it doesn't matter if you're a millionaire, billionaire, or just a normal person. You will go through them, and you can't avoid it. But those times are the tough times. But I have found that this system, if you've never, if you've always had everything and have never lacked anything in life, I find most people in that category do struggle at this time, and then they end up committing suicide, but they're not actually reading their circumstance correctly because they don't think outside the box, or they have no experience, or even think that people would, be so cruel to, sabotage them, target them, or anything negative. So yeah, the devil does move on our goodwill. It's just recognizing it, because, that has happened to me historically, where I've done things out of my goodwill, and then they've turned it around and taken advantage of that and tried to murder me. So this can happen to anybody. So I'm glad to actually share that part of my testimony, just so that to help anyone, to just don't take everything on board. That's what's going on, and just remember that there's always somebody else out there worse off than you. So if you're not into organized crimes or stuff like that, you're the type of person who are into the natural justice. Like, if you haven't been gone through what I've gone through, all the good people are coming on my board, because this is where I'm coming from. My mindset is natural justice, natural law versus organized crimes. Okay, so this is what we're going on with the system now. And one always overrides the other. But the natural justice and everything natural, that is what is integrity is. Has nothing to do with organized crime or culture's belief, religious belief, or anything like that. So, of course, positive energy. If you're a positive person, you're always wanting to do the right thing, and you're minding your own business, like I have historically. You're going to get those that oppose you because they hate you and they want to destroy everything about you. So they're like, this is what this poster is about. They're burning out anything good about you as a way of, of getting rid of you, or just actually eliminate your existence from Earth. So they're doing that by using the misuse of devices, by animating and diverting your energy to somebody else, and then that person ends up stealing everything. Unfortunately, that is the reality of this new age system, and that is what's going on at the moment. But it is serious, because it doesn't matter what generation it is. No one should be deleting your existence. No one should be sabotaging you and trying to stop you from going forward. Everyone's entitled to justice, no matter what. But the whole idea for the opposing ally is that there's a lot of money involved. Others, it may be their culture or their belief, or maybe they're fighting for their reputation, really. Okay. And I guess I'm doing the same thing. I'm fighting for, well, I don't actually need to fight, because I know I've got a good reputation, but I am standing against the opposing allies' lies for the sake of everybody else. And and I just feel it was just time for me to do this anyway. Okay, so historically, you can tell in my what's happened to me, that the opposing ally has tried to make me look like the crazy one, and the person that is being twinned, or my energy lured to, is made to be the better choice. And this also is where the relationship comes in. They're painting the person that they substitute as the better choice, and so that's what's happened. But in reality, those people that they're picking, they've been groomed by other people. Everything has been set out to make look perfect, look favorable, look wonderful on the surface. And this is where Natalie comes in, but behind the scene, I don't think I need to say anything, but this is what they are doing. Okay, so you can be discriminated just for your look, and they're animating you because they think you're not pretty enough, or you're too fat, or anything discrimination, or even just for your race or your color. But it is illegal. Just before I go off this picture, I have actually used this picture. The whole part of this new age system, what they have done is so you've got the good twin and the evil twin. So that's another scenario I can explain it. So they've made me like the evil person, and whoever they're twinning is like, that person's been groomed and stuff like that purely for the public eye to attract and to lure people away. But they do have an alliance all set out, like everyone's got a job, and their whole intention is to actually eliminate you, like either even murder you completely or keep you down is what they're doing. Keeping you down as meaning so you cannot advance financially, keeping you down so you can't get your freedom, like just keep you enslaved, or they don't care if you kill yourself or they wait for somebody else to do it. Going back to the relationship scam, I know I've used this in my other video, but it's good to kind of like, for anyone new on board, I've just named names of different people. This person here, she's linked to Rob, and this person is linked to Pastor King, and this person here is linked to Henry, and this person is linked to Henry, but Henry doesn't even know this person here. Amy Dean, she says she is, he does, she does, she says she does, he does, but sorry, but he doesn't know her. And then of course Natalie, who's wants to live in an illusion of lies, and we'll get to that topic soon. And then Echo is linked with Dan Brady, and so we've got all this beautiful people on the surface before the eyes of the public, before they're meant to be the favorable, honest people, but in reality they're being used for deceptional and devious acts, and it is fraud 100%. And basically these people are used to animate in the legislation, and I am actually the original, and I've just used this parcel as me putting all the pieces of my life together. And then you get all the other people who are following this alliance, and they they call themselves zombie zones out in the world, or the shadow people. And believe it or not, but in my own discovery with the legislation, they've even put the word shadow in the legislation. So they are changing the legislation to allow this kind of thing going. But what I've personally gone through has been demolishing or dehumanizing a individual, and then stealing everything positive, and then the intent is to murder me. There's definitely conspiracy to murder charges offense in my case, manslaughter, you name it, they've done it on me. All I can say about this system is that they can steal what they want, but they can't steal my faith, and they can't steal my brains and the favor of God that is upon me. Okay, guys, so everyone knows globally, it is definitely, just one moment, I'm just trying to get this up. It's definitely, it's shrinking. It's a sport game, all right? It's a global sport game, which makes it even more serious for innocent civilians, because I know if people knew everything about me before all this took place, they wouldn't even participate, they wouldn't even go near anything like corrupt, okay? Because it all kind of starts off innocent, like a joke, but to some cultures and some religion, to them a game is a game, and they don't care what happens, but it is a real game, and they do have their symbols for the Commonwealth place. So people are coded, okay? And so I'll just put this up, and I know exactly who is my opposition, okay? But I'm not afraid of them. I'm not afraid of them. I believe I'm in my perfect right to do what I'm doing. I'm in my rights to do what I'm doing, and I'm doing it. So behind the scene, this game, this is what's really going on. Okay, eventually, negligence. Usually, over time, this is what happens. Okay, you get everybody, like the alliance, you're outnumbered. That's why privacy is so dangerous. And people are only using me just for fame or there's money in it. I have found that they don't actually really care. And yeah, that's just how it is. But this picture here actually basically speaks volume of what I'm going through behind the scene and the warfare that I'm going through. Okay, I've shown these pictures. I've shown these video clips to Henry, okay? And he confirms it's not him. Okay, it's his double. I asked him, you know, because like he didn't know what he didn't even know about these clips until I showed it to him. Okay, because nobody knows where the real person, where the real Henry is. But his PR and his management and the people that hate him are the ones behind driving and organising all this. He said that, because I wanted to know, well, you know, where is your right, kind of a thing, you know, this is what I'm thinking in my head. What gives these people the right to do what they're doing right now while the real Henry is like fighting for his life? So I asked them, what gives them the right to do what they're doing now? Obviously, I said, do they own you? Are you a property? Blah, blah, you know, all these questions. Because I'm learning, okay? I'm learning about the whole Hollywood scene. And he said when he's in contract with the movies, they do have rights to do all this. But he's not currently in any contract with anybody since he's been sick. So this is not the real Henry Cavill, okay? This is his double, and millionaires and billionaires do that all the time, okay? People in government do all that. Technology can do anything, and but he said this is not him, and everything is all part of a cover-up versus what I'm saying on social media.
Best Supporting Actor in Film, and the nominees are... And the ACTRA Award for Best Supporting Actor is... Damon Herriman, Better Man.
Yeah. Okay, next one I'm going to show you. Henry's engaged. Apparently Henry's engaged and playing happy family with Natalie. That's not true. Okay, see what he's wearing? Black. See, everything in this picture is coded, okay? Okay, orange means, you know, they've actually, I don't know, I'm trying to explain. They've color-coded some religions, and they know they've color-coded Jews or anyone Christian. And I can actually say that the Christian community, the real Christians who, you know, like, I'm not saying that they're perfect, because I know that some of them are at fault involving me, but that doesn't even come in the picture. But what this picture actually it's coded. What he's wearing he's and he's wearing yellow, and then he's wearing blue and white, and then he's wearing a hat linking to some people in government, but he's coded, okay? So keep in mind, this is not Henry. This is his double. And this is Natalie coming out of a plane, you know, playing happy family. Henry is not even talking to her. He really isn't, okay? He hasn't even confirmed whether it's his child, because we both don't think it's his child either. But I'm just, you know, for our point of view, I'm just announcing all these video clips, and it's up to the public to decide, because, you know, obviously I have found that these women represent other cultures, other religions, other beliefs, and they're all fighting for reputation and money, okay? So that makes it like a Commonwealth game, but it's an unfair one because they're trying to murder another person in order for, to win and steal and, and gain fame and power that they do not deserve. Okay, so hope everybody's kind of like awakened, because I know a lot of people don't understand the Hollywood world, and nor do I. But if I recall rightly, this was used to be the kind of problems that in the old system, even before the technologies had, where people in Hollywood would break the law and stuff like that. But now it's easy for them to do what they're doing. But no one is a law to their own, okay? And no one is, anyone can go to prison for conspiracy crimes. But if it's affecting innocent civilians, they can be charged culpable crimes because it's indictable offences at the moment. Okay, this here, I've just thought I'll pick it up because if you're a Christian, I know a lot of people have judged me through gossip, judge me with their own judgment. But according to the Bible, that if you show partiality, you actually commit sin. So if you don't know what partiality means, it means bias and being prejudiced. So if you are, anti this, anti that, and you are cutting off us different people because you prefer a different kind, you are actually breaking the law. God's law, spiritual laws. So, obviously, what's on the surface has to be equivalent to what is on your documentations. Like if people are making unlawful judgments and the evidence is not correct, then that becomes fraud. So unlawful strikes affects everyone. Just bear with me, I'm just trying to find a post. Okay, so this is the foundation of actually why we have a legislation is to be honest and integrity. So if you're doing your job and you're being partial and bias and prejudice, then you are actually on the other side. You've just broken the law. Okay, that's why we have laws, because you'll be audited for that. Okay, so believe it or not, the opposing allies, which is Natalie Viskiso at the moment and her criminal alliance, they've actually conspired to bring false accusation against an individual, okay, and they're also deceiving the public. So this here would fall upon my case. On my case and also Henry. Okay, the case is after the fact case, all right? So, unfortunately, the reality judiciary corruption has taken place. So they all have to just find out the links of, everyone responsible in my case. That's how it works in a criminal case. And you'll either be charged or asked to step down. So that would be the registrar, deputy registrar, because my role used to be a deputy registrar for about 13 and a half years, so I do know what I'm talking about. And then we've got the judiciary corruption, sorry for a judge in that. See, everyone's accountable. It's 14 years. Trading in influence is if you are linked, even if, I know they do. Well, with what they've done to me, I feel like they're collecting my information, and then my information goes before a group of people who are actually making a decision for me, and I don't know who they are. I don't, and then they either come back to you, yes or no, declined or no, and unfortunately they've always declined me. It's actually not funny, excuse me. Even though I've done everything right, but what's going on behind the scene is that I'm actually blacklisted. I've been put in a category to be blacklisted no matter what, right? But this shouldn't be happening if people weren't trading in influence. So that's why we have laws, right? So I'm talking about people. Let me just go through some of the. I've pulled it out. Here we go. See, bribery outside New Zealand of foreign public official. So, quite clearly people from overseas are receiving our information when we send it by email to whoever receives them. So we don't. That's the danger of what I've gone through. We don't know who is our enemy or who is controlling and manipulating us. So, bribery outside New Zealand of foreign public official. If they're all linked to the government and they've got this special group going on behind the scene, you're trading in influence and you've broken the law. This also includes corrupt use of official information. So if you're using your job to help the opposing, like anyone in the party, like in a case, if you're using your job to sabotage a case, you fall in this one here. Corrupt use of official information, or like deleting or anything like that, or like you're tipping off the opposition by whether it's by gossip, private information, and then you're giving it to the opposing ally. You fall on that. You've corrupt, if by breaches, because nowadays what they're doing, everything is just done by gossiping and coding. But coding is still a breach, guys, right? It's still a breach. So quite clearly, Henry and I both fall in this category, like a slave. Okay, so when they've taken all your rights away and they're sabotaging and you can't go forward, this is what happens when you're locked out situation. But I'm just using us as an example. What I'm saying is this can be happening to anybody. But eventually they are making us a slave, okay? They want to control your money. They want to see. That's so dangerous. Where's the fairness of that? I have found, here I am in New Zealand, in my own country. I am a New Zealand citizen, by the way. But, some people are racist and they don't like me because I'm an immigrant. But unfortunately, according to the law, there's nothing there for you to even discriminate myself just because you don't like me because of my nationality, or because I'm not skinny or pretty enough, or because I'm an immigrant. The law applies to you too. But I have fallen in this category, dealing with slaves. So any of you can fall in this category but it's easy to prove. All right. What I'm saying is nothing is impossible. So this is what they have done to me historically. And very, very clearly, misuse of devices and its crimes against personal privacy. For them to take out every word from your mouth and then use it, do everything opposite, because that's what they've done to me. That's crimes against humanity. All right. And that's serious. But definitely espionage has taken over everyone. But if you be consistent and do your best just do your best to try and not, you can't help it when you're targeted. The thing is, you just need to know if you are, so then you can make better decisions for yourself, for your safety. But yeah, definitely crimes against personal privacy. People are letting me know that Henry's secretly doing all this, secretly doing that. He's having, he's got this secret lover going on, and then he's got Amy Denton who says that that's her boyfriend, and then, Natalie claiming and telling the world that he's in Australia with her playing family. And I guess I'm just doing what I'm doing by faith. And I know everyone is waiting for an announcement to say that we've broken up, and I will do that if I have to. But at this stage, I'm just not moved to do that yet for a lot of reasons. But Henry and I agreed that I will do this to just for the sake of everybody that is watching me. Okay, so we're dealing with internal corruption here. Okay, the system's diverted. It's been really hard on myself because they're listening to me. Okay, they hear my every word. And then I have found that when I submit my application to people, I don't have a choice but to wait and see. But I've submitted my applications right into the hands of the people that's responsible for what I'm going through, because they've coded me, and I know exactly who's coded me too, by the way, and I do know who are the opposing allies, but I've just got to go with it. And they are constantly making threats indirectly, but those things I just have to totally trust God in my whole situation, like He has all these years. But I am in a trap situation, and so I will finish my story there. So I guess you all have a decision to make, whether you believe me, believe Natalie, or believe Amy Denton. So, but if you watch all my video clips, you can quite clearly just know me by my personality, and even just know me professionally and what I did. God is not a God of confusion. Okay, so this whole illusion, public deception, is to confuse people. And so I felt that I needed to do this consistently versus to whatever's going on the surface. And I'm just going to go with it and leave everything up to God, because I feel I'm supposed to be doing this. Okay, so I do believe that our love story has been a purpose, and I think I might just finish with just a little note of what we went through. Just one day I had a dream, and I had this dream on the bed, and one down while I was sleeping, and I just felt in my heart that maybe I'll just finish it with a little story. Because God speaks to people in different ways, and we all have different gifts. But God did give me a vision. Several times He's confirmed that it was safe for me to have this relationship with Henry. People can read the natural man. They see everything natural, but they don't see the bigger picture, or they can't, because they just can't, because it's my story. Others, I believe there are other godly people that see it straight away. But God did give me several confirmation that I was safe to have a relationship with this person, with Henry. I wasn't looking for anyone. He found me, but I got confirmation. But I did get another confirmation in a dream, and I didn't understand what the dream meant, because I'm always constantly asking God to give me confirmation about things. And when I get those confirmation, I am so sure, without a shadow of doubt, I have to do that. And so I did have a dream. He doesn't know I'm going to share this, but I am, because I feel just for the sake and to encourage others with their faith, is that I did have a dream. And in this dream, Henry was like up on a building. Oh, sorry. It was like he was up in the sky, and then I was looking up, and then there was like he was on the other side, like the clear cloud. He looked good, happy, normal, and he kind of like just looked down at me with a smile. And then there was another dark cloud, but then a part of the dream, there was a dark cloud. And then I was like laying in my bed. I was asleep. I could see myself sleeping in my bed. I was asleep. And God spoke to me in my dream, like He does, like just few words. And then I didn't understand what they meant. And then that was the end of the dream. And then I didn't understand the dream. This is before he actually got sick. right? Because the whole scenario with Natalie in South Korea, that nearly broke us up. And because if you cheat, he's like me, we think the same. If you cheat, that's the end of that. And we're both very, very similar in that area, that kind of thing. But he made we both made the decision after we talked about it, and just waiting on God which direction to go with this whole relationship. And we both decided to keep trying, and I didn't get the confirmation to let him go. This is before he got sick. But before he got sick, I did get a dream. And in that dream, there was a dark cloud, then there was Henry on the other side, and he made me feel safe. And I felt God was saying to me, he's safe to be with. And so I had peace. Like, I've got to have peace when I know that I'm doing God's will for me. Okay, this is for Minna, not for you. You find your own journey, find your own faith. But I'm just sharing this as confirmation for those that are following me for your own faith. So this dream happened before he actually got sick and after South Korea. And I me myself, I'm going through my own journey in my own warfares, personal life at the time too, and but I didn't know what the dream meant. But then the dream finished, and then I think a lot about, okay, God, what was that dream about? Why did you go? Like, it just bothers me because I've got to know what it means, and I'm blessed because God has used dreams to speak to me. And then in this dream, I realized the dream did not come into the reality, what it meant, until later after Henry was sick. Okay, because we both didn't know he was going to get sick. And he didn't know he was going to get sick. All of a sudden, it just happened. But I dwelled on the dream for ages. I didn't tell anybody. And I just dwell because there's just sometimes some things when God speaks to me, I can't tell anybody. I can't even explain it, but I just know that it means something. But I also knew that the dream was a good dream because it gave me peace, and it was confirmation. It was okay for me to have this relationship with Henry. But I couldn't understand the black cloud, right? That didn't make sense until he actually got sick. And it wasn't until he actually got sick and he went through a very dark time of his life, I realized that God knew he was going to get sick. And God knew everything there was a purpose in it. God wanted me to be there for him. And everything was meant to be. But I didn't know the actual meaning of the dark cloud until he got sick, really sick, and we thought he was going to die. And then we also knew somebody was trying to murder him. But it was a testing of a faith for me. Whether I didn't, the journey was difficult, but this is all faith, right? This is a faith walk, and I've just learnt to know what's for me and what's not. I'm not a people pleaser, never have and never will be, because I feel you always got to do what's right before God for yourself, okay? And because it's God, we stand alone, not man. Doesn't matter what man says, blah, blah, blah. You've got to do what is right before God, because that's where the blessing comes. Even if it's difficult choice, even if it means sacrifices. So with that dream, like I said, we didn't know he was going to get sick. And so I persevered, and I'm totally madly in love with him, okay? We just both connected spiritually on all levels. And it's just like I said to him a few times, I think God's got a sense of humor for the kind of people he actually uses. Like, I'm everything that everybody don't like or want because of my background. in my history. And then, and I know a lot of people in his culture think, oh, she's just not for him. Your man tends to think, that God has some kind of a preference, but that's not true. Okay, so that is one of my stories I like to leave on this video clip, just to encourage everybody who has a faith journey. God uses the weak and the base. So if you know your words, the Bible is actually just letters without the Holy Spirit. And we all have our own personal conviction, personal testimony, and mine doesn't belong. I knew that my journey, when I started in the early years, when God first spoke to me, I knew that my journey wasn't going to be an easy one. I also knew God was going to use it, and I also knew I had an obligation to obey and give it back to God. And that is why I'm doing what I'm doing publicly, is not to give creation the glory, but to give but to give God the glory, because he so deserves it. So with that, I will I'll finish up. But I feel it's just time to reveal the truth. I'm actually astonished and really overwhelmed. I'm overwhelmed at the power of God, and I'm overwhelmed of his love, and I'm overwhelmed with everything. Even though there's been a lot of sadness, and I've had to pay the price. But nothing is in vain to God. Personally, I hate social media. I hate anything to do public attention. I don't even like fame. In fact, when Henry first found me, I said to him, I'm not into rich men, because I'm not. And I just for not with them personally, don't get me wrong, I don't, not in a negative sense, but as I'm talking about more of a romance, I wasn't kind of money doesn't mean anything to me, to be totally honest. I've learned to appreciate life with when I have it and when I don't, and I found I've actually appreciated God more with when I've had little, or he's made me well, yeah. So I can live with or without money, but I do appreciate when he does bless it. But yeah, so I'll just leave it at that. It's just that I get really overwhelmed, and I know I'm supposed to give God the glory and hopefully to fill other people's faith. But just remember, just leave with you that God is not a God of confusion. Okay, he's not into deception and lies. I'm not perfect either, and maybe there are things about me you do not like, or you don't agree with. But you got to keep in mind that this is Minna's journey, and I know I'm within my space to do what I'm doing. And I also feel I have an obligation for the public that are following me to tell my version of facts to be the truth. Eventually, this will all go legally, and I'm quite sure it's going to benefit everyone in the long run and other generations to come. But yeah, so I thought I'd just share in this video clip on a positive note. If anything, I'm more encouraged every single day as God reveals things to me in my own way and the way he speaks to me. But I'll just leave it that. And yeah, so I'll just leave that out to you, but I think everyone can get the picture of the danger of technology. The Bible actually talks about I know the technology is wicked, and I've experienced why it actually speaks, that actually is noted. But the Bible is only letters, guys, okay? So don't use it like some kind of a law. All right. Don't be religious and use the Bible as some kind of an excuse not to actually exercise real faith. Okay. But that's the devil's lie when you take the Bible out, and interpret it as like, oh, that person's committed sin, and because this is what I've been up against is people fault finding and picking at my faults and everything else. But I'm just like Henry. I'm one of those people. I don't care what people think about me. I really don't. I've always lived my heart and my conscience. I've always lived my heart and my conscience before God, and that's all that matters to me. And I found that God has always moved when I just needed it most. So I will end my story there.